Good evening, and it is a Friday night. We're here at it again on a wee on a wee Go Fuck Friday, waiting to see some Friday night curses coming after us and whatever else kind of traps on. Thanks for everyone that's joining us, and I'm joined as always for the show by McBride Ace. McBride, good to see you in your regular seat.
Good evening. Yes, and I've got my regular beers, and I'm operating a multi-beer system here as well. I've got another one ready for when that one's finished.
Love that, love that. Got the ball boys on, cracking the whip. Love to see that.
That's
And
it.
back on, first time in a little while, we've got SR Dimebar, Charlie boy. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, and when you said first time in a while, I couldn't remember last time I was on. But I feel like I wasn't ages ago, but I feel like I was
Might
at the
not have
same
been.
time. But yeah,
Yeah. Feels like it's just that whole time paradox
Yeah.
doing this stuff where like 1 week feels like a month sometimes and
Yeah.
a day can feel like a year, But yeah, you're probably right. It's probably not that long. But good to see you as well, mate.
yeah, good to
And
see you.
I know we've definitely seen you since you've bagged the cup, haven't we?
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
So
yeah,
confident for the weekend?
yeah, very.
Should be good, shouldn't it? Newcastle Man
I'm
United
hoping
for anyone.
so. Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I think, and for like the first time, you probably know with Celtic, like when you have a good game, you've not just got like your one or two stacks, you've just got them everywhere. So like, yeah, there's a lot of my SF5 lineups all riding on that game, but I'm confident.
Nice, some buzz. Should be a good one. That was the same fixture I went to. Was it last season, the season before? But it was Man U
I
at St
remember you said
James's.
last season in a video or a stream, and I was like, I think it was the season before. Was it? It might
Right.
not have been. I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Time flies.
I know.
This is for just saying. Who
Yeah.
knows? Could have been any season at this point.
Yeah.
McBride, you were at St James's this year, weren't you?
Yeah, it was down with Charlie actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
That was a
me and
season,
my
but yeah.
brother.
Aye.
We got tickets through Sorare. It was really good actually. Really enjoyed it. I just went down for like the day. Just drove down in the morning, went to it, and that was stayed in the same hotel. I went to my stag do on as well. So I had that as a wee kind of like reunion type thing. Went to the same hotel. Went to a game. Went to the same Chinese. We went to the stag do and everything. Then come up the road the next day. So it was some nice memories. Although I don't remember parts of my stag do as well. So I do remember the hangover on the way home. I was absolutely fucked. But yeah, really really nice. I enjoy it, and hopefully I'll get back down again soon. So it wasn't really that bad in terms of traveling. You forget how actually like, close we are. Like if you just drive down for a day or two or whatever. So it was really good. Newcastle get beat 1-0 by Brighton as well. So
Yeah, I will say, I think you did jinx. I think that's the first time. It was when we played, and I think it has been since the first time we've not scored at home under Eddie Howe.
uh,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
thanks
some
for that.
powerful jinxing, McBride.
Yeah. Big
I had
time.
my Brighton stack that day anyway, but I couldn't say anything. So I was sitting as Brighton scored, and like, I was sitting
Yeah.
in amongst all the Newcastle fans, and like, everybody all headed down to get like more beers and stuff. I was like, oh, let's get down and get a beer as well. So yeah, it was good. It's a really good experience.
Yeah, I remember because I had bought as well, and I'm sure he scored like a 90 or something like that.
I was wild. Really good game. I think Newcastle did play pretty well. It wasn't as if like they were rotten or anything. Like, they played pretty well and just never really took chances and things as well. But it was kind of interesting to go and see something like that as well. Because obviously used to going to just like Celtic games or whatever. But I even did like the hotel you came and met us. Obviously the hotel we're in, like, you just walked around the corner and walked like, a couple hundred yards and you were at the stadium. Like it was amazing. Like really good experience. And it was quite a nice day that day as well. I don't know.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was quite a nice day weather-wise, so I was mainly in the bar for most of the day. But we didn't really have enough time to come down the night before or anything. But yeah, really enjoyed it. It was good.
I was just thinking, McBride, did you invite me to the game tomorrow? Are you going? Or were you going to get tickets maybe or something?
I've got a ticket, yeah. I've got one. Aye, so you're going away anyway, aren't you? So
Yeah, but I just had a wee bell
Aye.
go off in the back of my head there, like, maybe you're going the
yeah.
morrow.
No, I've got a ticket, so I was a bit ashamed because I thought obviously after the result last weekend, like if we'd have won, then it could have been the win in the league type thing as well. And that's why a lot of people were pretty annoyed about it. Like, like, we're going to win the league anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like some of the reaction's been a bit overboard. Like, yeah, we all want to go tomorrow and we all want to be winning the league tomorrow. But if we don't win it tomorrow, we're going to win it. Maybe when Rangers play Aberdeen or the next game or whatever, we're going to win it. So
I've just received a message. Sorry. It was somebody's. Oh Jesus! I've got a few Celtic chats I'm in, and one or two of them, like if I get a message in, sometimes I'm like, oh, hiya. But I didn't see it was in response to a question. I thought it was like a statement for tomorrow that players were out. The message in my notification bar, McBride, read, "Kun CCV Hitate out." I was like, what?
Try not to give me a heart attack, eh? I
Yeah,
had my own
that was
heart
good one
attack
there.
today as well. So actually, for the
Yang.
first time ever, tipped Yang. Thought Yang's going to play. Kyun's been terrible. He's been hooked. I'm going to play Yang. All my Yangs lined up. It's like that thing in MFL where a guy buys all the Wangs, puts them in the same team. All my Yangs, every Yang I owned was in a team, and I thought I'm going to make sure I'm round about the deadline and stuff because I know I'll need to update any late news. And then the YouTube dropped for the Celtic YouTube, which they drop in at 10 to 3 helpfully all the time. And I thought I've not got time to actually listen to that. It's going to be 15 minutes. So I just went and check all my teams, and then I looked on Twitter and just the algo hit me with Yang was out. So I had to go and check this out, and I think there's 2 teams I've still got Yang in, so I just couldn't get them out quickly enough. I had 3 minutes to try and switch teams, which was just mad. But I got the main ones done. I got the super rare and the rare one done, but I never got to the limited ones, I don't think. So there we go. So I'm still playing Yang in some teams this weekend, even though he's walking about in a sling and he's definitely not playing, but brutal.
Ian's coming at us here with the low blows. Low blow, Ian. Low blow.
Let's talk about rolling locks or something like that. I don't want to talk about Johnson.
Okay, yeah, I don't mind a wee bit of rolling lock chat, a wee bit of DNP avoidance or whatever. I have quite enjoyed it for midweeks, but I do think, like, I don't know, it's one of the things you realise, and I think, Charlie, were you bitten by this? I'm sure there was a fair amount of it going around this midweek anyway.
I think we both kind of experienced it, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Both in just like similar ways, yeah.
Who else was it? Harry actually went out and bought somebody off the
I
back of
did
news
as
and
well.
whatever.
Yeah, well, I bought 2 people as you know.
Yep, the KDH, of course. Yeah. So it's the method they've got there now. Like, I like it quite a lot, but it is quite time intensive. You know, like you were like, obviously we've got the deadline situation, McBride and his Yangs, obviously, but is everyone who's had a team in the midweek, especially if you've had some of these South American lads and they've now had it in All Star and under 23 to be able to kind of tweak your team and kind of alter and adjust. You do need to be of sound body and mind and present and accounted for when these things are happening, you know, like, and even at that, it's not a failsafe. And I think the fact that it doesn't completely like shield you from guys still scoring shit, or, you know, like if you just run out of cards, then that's you've run out of cards. I quite like that it's not a sweeping. It does benefit the whale galleries, obviously, which is always everyone's retort at that kind of thing, but I like that it's not really that game breaking.
Yeah,
that's my thoughts.
I agree. It's not game breaking. Like, personally, this is the first time I've had to like really deal with it, and like it really wasn't enjoyable. I'll be honest. Like, I was on the Chelsea game kicked off at 4:45. I was like refreshing the team sheets at 4:45 because I knew, like Kai said, it was like 70% on the play, like across a few sites. So I knew like he was probably going to play, but there's a chance he doesn't, and the rest of the team was playing for the Champions League, so they already played and they played well. So I was kind of relying on this a lot, and then obviously we found out he's on the bench, and then I now have to at 4:45 scout around. Obviously I looked for a Chelsea player because I had to be a midfielder. He 23. I looked for a Chelsea player. I thought, I'll get Kieran Dewsbury Hall, buy him and find out he's 26, not 23. But yeah, I then, once I moved past that, I then had to scout a U23 mid for later that day, which I don't know if they're going to play. So yeah. I'm then again taking a stab in the dark. So I ended up with a Johnny Cardoso, which managed to score like a 60. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I just didn't find it enjoyable personally. Like, I was dealt with that DMP. I had what some people would call like the benefit or the luck of having to change it and keeping a team alive, and it wasn't really enjoyable from my point of view because I had to go to the market and get someone.
And because if that guy started the game as a DNP,
Yeah,
you
so
wouldn't have been able to swap him later. So you
correct.
have to
So
play
if
the
the game
Cardoso now.
So I had to buy someone and swap them out for Caicedo before
The
5:45.
DNP hits.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, those like some elements I liked, like obviously if you've got like Real Madrid or whatever, and like there's some guys there you just don't know whether they're going to start. Like Modric, you always want to pick Modric, but you just don't know when he's going to start. So it's kind of good that like being able to just like say I've actually got 5 starters, because like I've watched like earlier on in the season when I got the Real Madrid guys, like I went through a spell where I couldn't get 5 starters. I'd be sitting there, be like 8 o'clock at night, all right, getting the cans open now. Game's going to come on, the lineups come out 4 out of 5, and I just fucking turn it off. Just like, I just don't want to watch it anymore. Like so, like there's that element of it where you're just like my game week's dead. The flip side, like you're saying, Charlie, like I just don't know how this is all manageable in a big weekend. Like Sorare have sort of driven us into this experience where you've got like multiple lineups, you've got all these different regions, all these different clubs, the whole of world football and everything. Like I just like so I've bought a lot of K League and J League guys. Like I don't want to be setting an alarm for 4:30 in the morning on a Saturday to get up to adjust my lineups. Like I just don't want to do it. Like so, if I'd known that Roland Locks were in before I bought all those K and J League guys, and that all the guys playing the Asian region are going to be actually adjusting their lineups, and I'm starting at disadvantages, wouldn't have bought them. So if they come out and they say that we're going to do this Roland Lock thing or whatever for Europe, then what I'll be doing is I'll be buying Celtic cards, and that'll be it. I might buy like a stack of a team that I know I'm going to be around for the games, but I'm not going to get involved in MLS. I'm not getting involved in Asia. I'm not going near any of that stuff. I'm not buying. Like I might like have to cut my gallery down as well, because like I just can't spend my whole weekend like checking every game every hour every hour of the day. So that's the problem, right? It's not like on a smaller game week or whatever, it was okay, but on a big weekend, that's just carnage, man. Same way as DMPs are. I know that DMPs are a problem as well, but like just having to go in and adjust them, like it's just mind-boggling stuff. To be honest, like I don't like it either.
Yeah, I agree. Like, but this was a semi-finals, or quarterfinals. This was quarterfinals. So we had barely any teams playing really, and it was still like manageable. But like you're doing it over what? You're only checking out like what 7 o'clock every night for 3 nights. So it's kind of manageable to a point. Like no one's gonna, unless they've got stacks on stacks of like Arsenal or Real Madrid, and then they've got to move stuff about. Like everyone can manage it to a point, and it was like okay. But if you're doing this Saturday, you've got a game at 12:30. Germany kicks off at 2, 3 o'clock Prem, 4 o'clock somewhere else, 5:30 Prem, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, MLS now at 9 o'clock. And you've got, what I mean, like you're going all night. And I think, like you said, with the Japanese and the K League cards, like this season, like on MLS, I've tapped into San Diego. I've got a lot of San Diego cards, and they kick off most of the time at 3:30 in the morning UK time. So like, I don't want to stay up till 2:30 every night, every week to check the San Diego lineup to then realize shit, one of my guys isn't playing. I need to go get someone else. And it's not just a lot of the time. It's not just swapping people in and out, because not everyone has that or can do that. You've got to spend half an hour trying to scout someone, and then can you get them? Like, are they on the market just to buy? Do you need to send a trade offer? You know what I mean? It's not just, as they say, like swapping in and out. And I know some people have suggested that kind of sub sort of thing, but yeah, that's not what this is currently. So yeah.
It changes the strategy as well. I think like one thing I've noticed too was that like say for example you've got a couple of the earlier games, like so you might want to run a full stack, but if you've got like a couple of forwards from the later games, you could maybe run like 2 options where you'd be hoping they get like the clean sheet or whatever, and then you can move. So like remember when they run the experiment before, like I had a like a team where I had like good players in it. The first two guys had flopped horrendously, and I was like, well, I'm just going to move them now to a later team because they're better options than the other ones. And that was nice. It meant that I still had a chance with them or whatever. But realistically, it's just, to me, that's just all a bit daft. Like, just it's people are trying to say it's fair because everybody can do it. But I think there's a bit of an inherent like unfairness with that as well, where you're making decisions after some of the games have actually gone. It's like a late registration thing, and it's like at least just now everybody goes in at the same time. You make your decisions based on the same information rather than somebody getting an advantage because Celtic playing the last game of the game week or whatever, and then you know whether or not like you need to go quite risky because you need a high score, or whether you need to go a bit like safer with somebody that's a bit more reliable because scoring's been really low. Like I just don't know. It just doesn't really sit that well with me, to be honest. But
Yeah, I think Harry actually did that with one of his teams. I think he was telling us. He was saying someone I can't remember if they just played bad or they DMP'd, but he swapped I think 4 of his 5-man team in from D1 because one of the players did bad into a D2, so he could essentially just have a second go, which is just not what this was supposed to be designed for. Like if you could, like I haven't done it yet because I couldn't, but like if you like on a weekend, everyone's just gonna play your Friday goalkeepers, pick the best one, and then lump all your smashers in with him on you.
Yeah,
That's the way I see it. Like it's so easily exploitable if it's on a weekend.
I think on the weekend, like when you were chatting about it there, I went and grabbed this up to demonstrate. I think this is the level of vision you would need when all this stuff is going on over the weekend, where you can just see the matrix. Just like look at your phone and all your teams, and it's like you just know, right, okay, like you're talking about, move the divisions and all that stuff. That's that's kind of what you need to be doing at a full weekend with all the different kickoff times and whatever. And I do think that's part of the thing with the midweek that's made it palatable or like manageable. The whole kind of gerrymandering over divisions is interesting as well, because I think this DNP solution or facility, let's call it, I think it kind of flies in the face, or it flies kind of in contradiction, or it runs in, I don't know what the word is, but if you're like, all of us are all playing multi-entry for the most part, and if you've got like a 3-squad team, then doing this is a lot harder if you've only got those like 15 to 20 guys or kind of thing. So part of it might force people to have their strategy of, I only actually put 2 teams out now rather than 3, so you've got that buffer to be able to play around with in that kind of crunch time. Yeah. So, and I don't think they want that. I think they want everyone still playing 3 teams. It kind of doesn't really bother me because I've got like 380 rares or something like that now at this point. But for those leaner teams, galleries, then you then are probably faced with how many teams do I play, especially at the weekend when you might not have that matrix vision to move everything around, and who cares if that team dies and this and that and up a division and down a division and whatever. So I don't know if for the weekend this would be a good worker for a few reasons.
Yeah, I think it'd be a nightmare. Like a genuine nightmare. Like I think all these people saying they love it and it just helps the DMPs, and it's like, because DMPs ruin the fun. Like if one weekend of this and having to juggle stuff around and move teams about all weekend, because it will be all weekend, won't be fun.
No, every weekend of your Sorare calendar.
And then you got midweeks. You're essentially doing it every day, aren't you? You're literally doing this every day. Juggling teams around.
Yeah, I think the flip side is that I think that something does need to be done, because like there's so many like DNPs and surprises and people getting disengaged because can't get a run for their money. So I do think that something needs to be done. Like, is that like a sub thing? People maybe don't like that because they think that maybe the bigger galleries will have an advantage there or whatever. But Sorare are trying to promote like collections, and might not be feasible to say that it's got to come from the same collection, but you're often carrying the backup, and you don't get to swap them in. I don't think that say for example you've got Pranksy and Pranksy's running 10 messes as subs. well, there's a likelihood that 8 or 9 of those Messis are not going to enter a competition. So there can be pros and cons of that as well. So you say, well, he's going to hit a really high score because he's guaranteed that his Messi's going to come in for somebody else. But then he's going to have 6 or 7 of them sitting out the game week and they're not going to be used anywhere. So there's definitely could be some advantages of like if big galleries are just picking out like a lot of the star names or whatever, and then they just don't get played at all. But I think something does need to be done because it's proper disengaging when you've got a couple of teams. I think that's looking really good, and then you don't even get a run for your money. Like that's what people are frustrated at. It's not the fact that they're winning or losing; they just don't feel as if they've ever get started in the competition. The way I always like the analogy I always got is like if you were betting in horse racing and you were betting all the time, but if the horse didn't start, you never get your money back, then people wouldn't want to bet on it, you know. So some people do; they do anti-post and stuff, but you know what I mean. Like if it's just I don't know. It's been quite tough recently. There's a lot of football on, and some of the stuff's been pretty wild. And like even today, like Yang News kind of came at 3:05, and that had 6 teams dead. So I'd have been pretty annoyed about that. But here we go. Some of that stuff's part of the game, I suppose. But
I'll be honest, I'm in the camp of I don't think it needs anything personally. Like you said with the horse analogy, say you bet on a horse, how often does it just not start? You know what I mean? Like the way I see it, if I said to you, you've got an SO5 team, pick people that are on to start 100% that won't start. How likely are you to do that? You know what I mean? Like the way I see it, I think it's often highlighted when it's a big team or a big player that's stacked a lot or picked a lot. I like personally, I honestly don't think it happens as much as people think it happens.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's as much as an issue as people make out it to be honest. That's the way I see it. Like I've obviously been burnt by DMPs in the past, but I just don't think it's very, very rarely a point where it's like, wow, this guy was absolutely nil to start and it's some complete freak occurrence or injury after the deadline.
I pressed on button there, sorry.
I suppose it's kind of similar as well. Like if somebody concedes a penalty in the first game, or somebody gets an error led to go, or they just do shite, or because like if your goalkeeper plays first and they don't keep a clean sheet now, like your team's pretty dead, and that's you're not really winning anything in Sorare at the moment unless you get like a reasonable score out your goalkeeper. Maybe they concede, but he does loads of AA and he gets 60 or whatever. But most of the time I look at teams, and if the first guy's not doing well, I know that's dead as well. So I do get your point. I think that obviously there's been a lot of focus from Sorare on the quality of life stuff and listening to feedback. And obviously one of the biggest bits of feedback they'll be getting is people who aren't happy because they can't get 5 guys on the pitch. Maybe one solution at some point might be in the big weekends do a longer format, like a kind of, an 8-man or an 11-man, but then offer subs and, offer that instead of 2 all-star entries or whatever. So you could definitely play about with it in a way, but like obviously in the core competitions, maybe sometimes it's best just not to change it at all. So I don't know. It's an interesting debate on it.
Yeah. I think like as we're talking about it, I think where's the path of least resistance here with maximum upside? And it makes me think if they were to do this at the weekend, it might be league specific comps, Prem, Bundesliga, MLS, and then it's just, and I know we were chatting about the time zone thing where MLS makes it a lot difficult if you're not in the right time zone to not be competitively like nerfed a little bit. But the logic will probably be swings and roundabouts with the European stuff if you've got that kind of in your favour against them. People in America who are at the opposite end of the scale on that one. Excuse me. But I do think the regional ones it would just be too mental, especially if you're like not in champ, because they're all Challenger's kind of clean now, isn't it? It's all European time zones now, but
yeah,
it's really contender, I suppose. But it's just this constant action in the game week in that region, like constantly games happening. Like we're chatting, you were chatting there, Charlie, about waking up at 4 a.m. and all that. Like I threw away 10 points this game week by playing Tellez in defence because he kicked off Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and the other guys played essentially
half one,
Wednesday.
wasn't it?
Yeah, half one. And I just thought the teams that I can see is in run,
Yeah.
you know, rather than River had the better game, the individual players score better than the guy I picked. But I was like, I don't need to wake up now at half one. We'll just run with TLS, you know. And it's ultimately costed me 9 or 10 points, which is a bit of a kick in the balls. But I don't think that should be an element of the game. Can you be bored staying up? You know.
And it is going to be literally lineup checking all weekend, because you're going to have to, as soon as a lineup comes out, you're going to have to keep an eye on it. And then if something's off, switch someone in. It's going to be that all weekend, which is just mental. And also, maybe it was just a coincidence, but scores this week seem really high. I'm not sure if that was just because scores were high or because people are subbing in and out everyone as well. So, yeah, I think there is downside of it. Like, as much as it will be a nightmare, I think there's also other downside, whereas like it could change scores drastically.
Yeah, people will definitely complain about that. One thing you know that people will complain about, and I think actually, I know why Sorare did it, but they made a mistake when they added in the rare, like the extra 10% or whatever. You just know in your head there's going to be somebody that's going to come on Twitter and say, I only got a tier 3 for 440 points or whatever. Like, I wish they'd just stop fucking about with stuff like that, you know? Like, you know, also because like sometimes I look back at teams and I look at my historic scores and I think, well, that's a good score now. I don't know whether it was a good score or not a good score because everything's all changing all the time. But I mean, if the scoring goes up and you've got to achieve higher scores, then people will complain about that as well. So,
yeah, I think there's always going to be complaints about something, even if they do this, whatever people want, rolling locks, like whatever they want, fixing DMPs. What will it be next? You know what I mean? Like, there'll always be something next, and will Sorare go, shit, people are annoyed about this, we've got to fix this now. You know what I mean? I just think people are always going to have a gripe about everything, about something. And I think a lot of it comes down to whether they're winning or not. And I think, obviously, like, you don't see people, most of the people that come, like, you don't see many people complaining that aren't getting burnt by DMP because the rest of the team did well, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, like I said, I don't see it as an issue, and I don't know if Sorare should be, like, if they're confident in what they are now, they shouldn't be jumping just because everyone's pissed off about something.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, like, the fun I've had with the midweeks being like, and I think like midweek is just like, if Surya could organise football at the weekend, it would probably go like the midweek does. Yeah. Everything's on at the same time. Yeah. Everything's in a time zone friendly time as well, and you know it's all set up. So I think like a lot of it works in like a little kind of self-contained system in the midweek, and it does show the positives it can bring. But I think like really when you get to the bones of the weekend, like the full action, the full all-star core competitions, under 23s, scarcities, classics and in-seasons, like it's just I think it just adds far too much on. I was going to give them some props, by the way. Sorry, I've been doing pretty good work over the last excuse me, I keep getting something stuck in my throat, but I'm going to say over the last like 6 or 7 months probably, on like the UI, the you know, interface and all that kind of stuff. And one of the changes I really like they've brought in recently is that when you look at your team, you only see like the raw score on all the players. But you still see the proper team score, so you don't need to do any mad maths or anything like that. But like you were saying, McBride, like trying to gauge it across time, because like seeing raw scores isn't really like ever been in your face or front and center. You or going, all right, Cherokee scored 99. What does that mean? Oh, it's 80. You know, or you were always kind of doing that. So I like that. It makes it a lot easier. And then when you know, for any users that kind of start out now and that's the way they see it, or as we all kind of adapt to it, as soon as you go, oh, this guy's on or this guy's ripping out 74s, you've got a much better idea of the impact that would make to your team for better, or depending if we're talking about somebody that does shite for worse, maybe. And, you know, maybe this will change a little bit, but they are trying to highlight, like, the value of XP points in a different way.
You can click on the thing and it tells you, like, good XP.
Yeah, who got them and all that.
Yeah, if back out of that page.
Is it back out the page? I thought it was maybe my
Get up
magnification.
on that page, and then click on the.
Click it.
Yeah, there, and then you can
It's
click on
much
each.
more mobile friendly, this, isn't it?
Yeah, you can click on each individual player, and it tells you like each little
card level, collection score, in
But
season or not.
I did see someone say like I really like that update as well, and I saw someone on Twitter complain about it, and I was just I didn't get it. I don't see like I often see a lot of people on Twitter complain and go, look, my full team's smashed and I'm not getting a reward, and then they've got a picture of their captain with an 80. The captain hasn't scored 80. The captain scored 80 with his 15% bonus and his 50% bonus. So your captain scored like a 40, and then they're complaining that I'm not winning anything. It's just I think it's a big improvement, and I think it should hopefully stop sending people into a meltdown for no reason.
Yeah. I was going to say as well, but I think like even at the weekends, maybe outside of the core comps, or I've already kind of said maybe it could be league specifically targeted, but it might even just be specials. Like the specials might just be like go nuts, just have fun with them. And if we do see more specials next season, which I'd be hopeful for, that resemble that Cap 230, where there's a bit of a quirk in it, it's in season, maybe it needs to be full in season team, whatever. Then that could just have an extra enhancement of you could roll your lock, and if you've built a team for it and been clever, then that team doesn't die on its face, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I have to say I'm a big fan of the in-season specials they've been doing recently. I do really like them. Yeah,
it's a shame there's none this weekend. But
yeah, I know I've done the attackers one, and I've just got no attackers left for the rest of my teams because I built that one quite early.
Well, it's a nice wee segue because I put on my Leipzig shirt for this stream because I got a double decisive right off the bat, Charlie.
Wow.
Baku for Openda.
Wow.
Double decisive.
Nice. Yeah.
Baku outscoring Xavi Simons at the moment. But Xavi Simons, I said to Harry, the AA's been there, but no DA's in the last 5. Yeah. He's got his DA, AA incoming. But yeah, so that's good for me. Wee bit of firepower in that. That was a last minute swap as well because Openda was down a team. And then who did we know? Somebody found out somebody was missing and I dropped them. Oh no, I slung Berardi into contender.
Yeah, because Depay was out.
Because Depay was confirmed out, and I just shuffled, and Yang was out, so it just shuffled around.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened. That's a fun team. Captain Larson's starting to run. And the Baku, McBride, did you play any of your Tierney's this weekend?
No.
I played one. He's on to start against Brentford, so let's get him in a team.
I always forget about him, to be honest. Like,
I've done it for pure fun.
Because I was away, I forget he's even signed for Celtic. But because I was away, I was only back this morning, and I felt like, I don't know, like before I started doing my lineups and stuff, I felt as if it was like this insurmountable task, because usually I've got like everything all like drafted in some way, or I just need to add a few on, or I need to tweak a few. And I was like starting from scratch. But see what you were saying, like just on the previous discussion, I meant to say it. Like, one thing that does annoy me though is like everything's got the same deadline, but some competitions obviously are confined. So like MLS, for example, right? Like you could easily have the start to that competition being on the Saturday because there's no games on a Friday night. You get the injury report out, you get more information. Doesn't really hamper anybody. It just means that the deadline's a bit later and people have got more information. Our thing as well, and it's like just now, like I've bought quite a few guys from like the J and the K League and stuff, and I want to do that, so I want to play over the summer. And because the deadline's quite late, you do get games on a Friday morning in some of those regions or whatever. Now, those are weekend games. They're not midweek games. They're weekend games that are designed to be part of Fixture 3, which is on at the weekend. And then you get fucked into All-Star with no cash, no good prizes, nothing or whatever. But you buy these guys who want to play in season competitions, you're paying an in-season premium and stuff for them. So obviously you're never going to have a perfect solution because, like with Contender, you've got people playing from all over the place and everything at the moment. So that's quite difficult for Sorare to manage all of that. But if you take the MLS as an example, like what would be wrong with having that starting later? Or the classic one was the Liverpool game get called off like in the Saturday morning or whatever because of snow. Like if the deadline was 2 hours before, then everybody would have that extra bit of information. So that doesn't really hamper anybody because it gives people extra time. but then you just get a kind of a split deadline. So I think that Sorare have always tried to focus on one deadline because you still get people forgetting this deadline, and it's at the same time all the time. Somebody came on today and said, "I forgot to set my teams." Well, that's your own fault because it's the same fucking time every week. Like, you know, it's your fault. I was like, you know, obviously, but they knew that. It was like, oh shit, I've made a mistake. So when you get those different deadlines, it'll be a bit harder to manage. But if it gives you more time, then like surely that's just a positive. But there's definitely is something they still got to do with the competition deadlines. The classic one was, I know it was a while back, when they were running the Copa America, and they just refused to be flexible with it. And Brazil and Argentina, who were the two protagonists in that competition, were playing in different game weeks for the first 3 weeks.
Yeah,
it's just mad. Like it just you've got to run that in a way where it's actually fair to people. I actually couldn't put out a team for 2 of those game weeks because they had split it up in a way that was just, we'll just keep to the deadline. It was just seemed to be really daft. So I think there's still some work to be done on that, and it's just, you know, maybe if you just move the MLS deadline back, people get more information. Then if you get a DMP, well, at least you feel as if you've not been told about it like 3 hours after the deadline's closed or whatever. Like, just try and help that way. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree on the Copa America one. I think international tournaments, they should be as flexible as possible, as they sometimes have been, but it does seem they kind of forgot about Copa America when they ran that. I do disagree on the MLS one because I think personally I've got MLS players not just in the MLS comp. I've got them in U23, I've got them in All Star, I've got them in the top tacklers, and if you were to move that deadline back 24 hours, it would, you'd basically have another rolling locks like we had with a midweek sort of thing. So I think that would cause a bit of chaos. And also the injury report they put out, I often, like, once again, I don't see players that were like, he's definitely, you know what I mean? Like players that were like completely expected to play now out, you know what I mean? Like I don't see it. I think most of them would be talked about in the press conference or talked about by a beat writer in one of the local cities or something.
Yeah.
But if you're doing these global things, then I think the rule maybe should just be that if you put a player into that lineup and that lineup started, then you can't use them again. And like that's one of the issues with having All Star. I mean, I think like actually if Sorare had the way to just get away with All Star, like I think like as users we were fighting for All Star. We wanted more All Star competition. They wanted to go to regions.
How many people play All Star? Do you play it? Because I don't play it.
Yeah.
Do you play it as like where is it in your priority? Like how far down is it?
Well, actually, funnily enough, this weekend I put my whole Liverpool stack into All Star, and the reason was because I've only got a D3 in Classic. So so it was like that, and I don't get me started on divisions, but I was like, there's like, why would I? I just didn't want to play like in Division 3 EPL. So
how come you're in Div 3?
What's that?
How come you're in Division 3?
Just by performing shite every week. It's like, I mean, I've got like all the Liverpool guys and stuff, but like they have off weeks, right? They have weeks where they just, you know, draw
Brentford
one.
and Brighton as well.
Salah's not scored for a couple of weeks. You know, it's kind of normal variance, really, isn't it? So,
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
In midweek, like obviously midweeks, like so midweek, like I had like some Miami guys, but that was the only place. All Star was the only place available I could actually use them in midweek because it was CONCACAF Champions League or whatever. So sometimes you're just kind of forced into like using those competitions because there's no other alternatives.
I am gonna have a win. Newcastle actually play midweek at home at Palace because of the rearranged fixture from the cup final, and I'm having to play everyone in All Star, which is like, you know, my full classic and full in season stack in All Star against God knows who.
So avoid the League Cup then.
Yeah.
Get it back in.
But yeah,
get it back in the weekends.
I think honestly, like, even if we just have like, I'll make 2 separate points. Even if they made like an in-season All-Star and a classic All-Star, but more to the point, I think Nep had a big issue this a while ago where Arsenal game got moved, or they were playing on an island game week basically.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm in the same maybe I'm bothered because I'm in the same boat currently, but why don't they just put 200 quid in the podium? No one's asking for the £3,000 podium they used to. Just put 100 quid there. I'd rather try and win 100 quid cash with an in-season team than face God knows who in All-Star, playing competing for a tier 3 that is going to never be shit.
Because there is 2 teams involved, so it's not just you against the Newcastle collectors.
Yeah,
but
let's be honest.
There's still Crystal Palace in the equation,
Yeah, in-season teams, how many are going to be? 100, 150? Keep it, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's got to keep it basically. 150 in-season teams. Even put 10 cash places. It doesn't need to be, you know what I mean? Like, even lump it into all one division. You don't have to, like, if it's just an island game, we just go in-season Premier League, all divisions. Just put 10 cash places out. I think it is annoying because obviously, like, it's not Newcastle or Crystal Palace's fault that they've been moved, and then you are getting one less game utility, which is disappointing. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I think for anyone that's got a league comp, that's a good way to go. But I think again, Champ's a bit messy with that. If it's an Italian club or a French club, you're just kind of screwed, probably.
Yeah, you are. Agreed.
Yeah, it happened with Celtic. Like, I mean, I think like if you're paying an in-season premium and you're doing that, then it should always be open. Like the classic is, and like to be completely unbiased, I thought it was a shocker. They brought in Burnley. They had like the Turkish games and stuff running, and because there was only 8 teams, they never opened Challenger. It's like you've literally just launched Burnley. One of the key points that you would want Burnley licensed is over Christmas period, and they never opened Challenger. And you had all these guys who had like Galatasaray collections, Fenerbahce collections, just bought Burnley cards, and there was no in-season.
No, yeah. What was worse, I actually got burned by that. What was worse, they didn't open the U23. So I've got Trafford and Esteve, a CJ Egan Riley competing in All-Star against Celtic, and it's just like...
Because what we were told was that, and I know it's quite hard to get it right all the time, I wouldn't like do that job, to be honest. Like sometimes I went on commented on it, and I wish I hadn't now, because that must be quite a tough job, right? But like if you're going to have specials or whatever, then you know the specials are going to have to cover some of those situations, right? It's like I just couldn't believe that. Like honestly, and there was so many
like
people.
The specials slush funds, you mean? Like the specials, like money that they set aside for them.
Yeah, so you're running these daft comps like the frozen pass. Like, who gives a fuck about fucking frozen passing? Like, honestly, like I get like these ones we've got now are a bit more regular, and you can kind of get used to them, so you can like make a strategy for them or whatever. But it's like just run something meaningful. Like people are buying in-season cards, they are paying the money for the in-season cards. They're doing that. They're paying a premium for the in-season cards. Just run something for them that involves giving out the cash, because this is Sorare's rule, right? They want to segregate the cash in season and keep everything else like separate. So, like if that was me, I just took a wee bit for the prize pool or whatever, and paid it out there. So obviously it's the first season of it, and we might get some of the MLS streaky stuff or whatever coming in. So maybe it'll all change again. But I think that's fair feedback, and I wasn't involved in that either, by the way. So sometimes people, it's just because you never get your Celtic stacks in and stuff. Celtic won 6-0 and I won nothing. I was raging about it, right? So, but it's just feedback, maybe things that you can do better in future. So,
not to mention when they try to put the Chelsea stacks into missions for the week.
Yeah,
like they say it was unfair advantage or they weren't balanced. When I'll remind the people at Sorare that the biggest winning margin was a Champions League team this week in the European competitions. So, yeah,
that was a mistake as well, wasn't it? Like I think I don't know
whoever even suggested that, never mind greenlighted it, was just mental. I wasn't affected by that at all. I don't have any conference players at all. But yeah, that was mental.
I've got a full Chelsea stack, and I still wasn't affected by any of that. So that was the biggest mistake I've made in Sorare. Anyway,
all the Chelsea players, they played, don't even have cards. Tons of them, like I've never heard of half of them. So Chelsea definitely didn't benefit from much of it. But yeah, it was weird how they wanted to kind of like mash them all together. I guess they're thinking about team volume, aren't they? Like at this stage of the competition, like how many clubs are involved in that. But
Yeah, but like I said earlier, like if Chelsea's the only licensed team in the full Conference League, for example, just put 5 cash places out. You know what I mean? You don't need like rather than they try to put them in missions.
yeah,
Like what? Honestly, what that would have looked like is just
Yeah.
like what could possibly be in missions that would have made someone go, "Oh, okay, fair enough. I've not come put a team out, but at least I'm doing something missions." You know what I mean?
I can't imagine, but it would have had to have been something like kind of foolproof, but had so like maybe get 5 starters and you're guaranteed like some essence or some shit, and then the next mission be like get 2 decisives and get a bit of essence, and then score over 400 points and get some credits. I don't know. I'm just there had to have been super like kind of easy. Everyone will get something, but maybe if somebody cracks it, there might be something for them. But yeah, hard to imagine. Actually, never really gave it much thought at the time in terms of what the mission would be or that kind of thing. Do you think all of this stuff as well? It kind of helps inform us, I think, for next season quite well, because this season so much was like unknown. Like how will they do specials? What will midweeks look like? What will blah blah blah. Divisions have obviously altered from this season as well. We had 4 rare, 5 limited, and 3 super rare, down to 1 super rare and 3 limited rare now. But I feel like just as we're talking now, the thought comes to my mind of like I'll be well prepared for this shit next year. And it's for better or for worse, depending on what we're talking about. But there's some of the stuff as we're chatting now, I'm thinking, yeah, next year it's good to know some of these stuff in terms of like, the special weeklies keep going. It feels like the in-season ones have actually, the in-season specials are, I don't know if it's deliberate, but maybe a second half of the season thing.
It's
You know,
yeah. I think it seems that way, doesn't it? I think even I'm at the point where I think I put my teams out this week. And I only had 1 classic champ team, whereas I think like even 2 months ago I had like 3 classics, 1 in season. Now I've got like 3 in season, 1 classic. So yeah, I think most people should or probably are at the point where like they want to be playing for it. Like it's the point where they want to be playing for cash.
Yeah.
And I think the specials do help that. I think they've done a really good job with the specials over the past month or so, to be honest. I think towards the start of the season, they were a bit shit, to be honest. Bar the special ones that, not special, but like the special ones where it's like league specific for, want to like launch the league.
yeah.
But yeah, I think they've done well recently.
I think the big problem is classic, isn't it? Like the seasonality. Like you get to the end of the season, and obviously Sorare still have some cards to sell. So when you get these specials, you need 5 in-season cards, and I totally understand that. That's fine. I would do the same thing, but like it's like we were discussing those other things like there. As if they don't care, and the reality is they don't care because it's not their priority to do that. Their priority is still to get some of the supply sold or to make a special edition of a card that people still want to pay money for. And obviously, the argument there is that if you do that, then if somebody wins a card, then that might still carry some value. But the absolute reality of it is that if you win a classic comp just now, it's shit. Like you all right, you might win like Mo Salah or whatever, but you've got no like in season usage. You've only got a couple of games, and then you're going into next season. It's going to have a crap bonus. Like, I think they need to get the thinking caps on with that stuff because, like, obviously, it's turning into a sort of in season game, but that's not quite what Sorare are saying. Like, I was watching that thing. It was like, Big Nick. He was on like one of those things, and
Yeah.
doing this, and everybody owns their items, and then but we're kind of like we own them, but we're kind of like it's an aggressive decline in terms of value after a season. Okay, it's still got ongoing value and probably more value than people would think, but it's quite a sharp dive in terms of actual value, and like. Yeah, it's hard, but like the under 23s, I think just become really shit. Like the past, you would get an under 23 and like somebody would come to prominence and people would look at the long term value there and then they would shoot up and they'd be worth a good amount of money. And now it's just a shit competition. I just don't even enjoy it at all.
I think Harry said it before, but I think they need U23 in season. I think that would help a lot the market in general. And I think like the higher, like the like world class players like Yamal, Dewey, Kvara. I
Yeah.
think like Vinny U23. I don't think Rodrigo. Like I think that would help the top players price a lot if they had U23 in season. Because I think like even people who aren't really into U23, it's kind of where you want to be sort of thing. Like it is like enjoyable to play sort of thing. So I think they really need to improve that because it is a little bit dead at the moment.
I think
Got
that's
really
fair.
decisive there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think that's fair, and like obviously the model's not going to change that much now. Like obviously we know where it's going in terms of the model, but like you, you've got like you've got to at least, even if you don't care about classic at this point, you've got to at least like as an optics thing like come across as if you do care about it. And like, I'm sure if you spoke to somebody that's sort of yeah we want classic to be good, but they're doing absolutely fucking nothing of any actual like nothing that's really like reasonable at all that actually assists that, because like you look at everything that's done, all the wee things where you get extra auctions credits and everything, that's against the secondary market. It's the end of the season, there's hardly any utility left for the prizes. It's quite difficult. People spoke about this for the whole season. Like, you know, I remember one of the guys, I can't remember his name, was quite clever, put out some good medium stuff and he's left now. But like he said at the start of the season, what are we going to do for the last third of the season? And that was ages ago, and nothing's really been done about it. So
Yeah.
like,
I was going to say, I think it's always been like that, though. I think even before we had in season and classic, people were like, "Oh, I don't want to." At the last month or two of the season, oh, I don't want to win. Like, but not that you don't want to win because you kind of got no choice. But
yeah,
if I win a big card,
You're gonna win and you're gonna like it.
yeah, I win for example, I win a Yamal the last 2 months of the season. He's going to have shit XP. He's not going to sell for as much. And that was before we had in season classic. People were like begrudging that. Oh, if I won him in 2 months, he would have been worth loads more, sort of thing. But I think there's nothing they can really. It's not like they can just put cash on the classic side for the last 2 months. You know, like they've got to sell the cards. You've got to reward the cards. Like there's nothing. Like everyone kind of knows if you win at the start of the season, you're getting a lot more if compared to winning at the end of the season.
but it's like the MLS, like there's no cash in classic, even the podiums. So we get to the end of the season, like what are they going to do then? Because like there's only pay out like the more valuable cards. So maybe it'll hold up a bit better because you only get a star, you get a tier one. You'll be guys who they'll be pretty decent in classic for the following season or whatever. But there's no cash at all. There's just like if it went even like kind of worse, like you don't even pay a podium or anything there, and like you know.
What about something like the last month of the season? They take all the cards out and they just pay essence. So essentially, you're getting a portion of next season's card.
Or you can yank it now.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good, but then the thing they've done that thing recently, they were trying to clear the essence out, and I think like they were doing that because they wanted to stop people carrying it over. So, like, I think I would like that, or if they gave you like, say they gave you like some sort of credits or whatever, but you could only redeem them against next season's cards. Like I would accept that. You know, I'd rather have like some credits to play in 2026 MLS than. Or, I don't know. Some people maybe would just rather have like the actual card and just wait for it to come back up in value. But it's just I get that those always been difficult points, but I feel as if like it's just all about selling cards and it's all about the in season stuff. And I do get that, but like there's no point sitting on these business things trying to say this is amazing and oh people own their cards and this is a, like but like well yes, but it's not really that like full ownership model. Do you know what I mean? It's like an in-season game with everything else bolted on, which changes all the time, and like I don't know. Maybe Sorare will get to a point where it's like Panini and we'll have some sort of collectability or whatever, and there'll be some value there. So it's been a bit unfair, but we're not there, right? Like Panini can do Panini NFT, and they can sell cards for more than what Sorare can sell them for, and not pay out anything. So like we're we're not at the sort of collectible angle yet. So
Yeah, I was going to say I slightly disagree, but I don't see they don't get revenue or like money back from the classic card, so they can't
yeah,
they can't just like put out cash because oh you've got cards from a few years ago. You know what I mean? They've got to like they've done with what was it MLB where they've done like the vault and stuff. Like, what would you rather have a way to I don't know even like yeah like they need for them to give value quote unquote and like when they say giving value it's more like having the ability to win value for them to give value to these classic cards they need to get like value back from them by people spending somehow. So you know what I mean?
I don't know how that vault thing works. So you lock them up and then
Yeah, you essentially lock them up
Yeah.
to get a percentage of your winnings gets increased or something like that.
A reward boost.
Yeah. So if I lock up 100 cards, I get X percent on top of. So say I win $1,000 cash, I would get X percent of
Right.
that $1,000 cash extra if I lock up how many amount of cards.
So it's like a card burner then.
Yeah.
I think of it more as a loyalty reward, the way that they kind of like that, you know, like if it's kind of like getting your stamps at the coffee shop, you know.
Yeah.
Once you've bought so many, you're going to get a free one or you'll get more or something.
Yeah. I
That
don't
kind of
think,
thing.
I'll be honest, I don't think that really solves or does anything. You're just kind of getting a lot of the shit cards off the market, but then what's the point?
I think a lot of those, I think MLB and NBA are totally different animals.
I agree,
In
yeah.
so many ways. Like, never mind the fact NBA season one had 10,000 limiteds, you know, per player, you know, and stuff like that. So there's just it's just a different animal,
Yeah,
you know.
I agree.
I somewhat disagree. I listened to the podcast Nick did, and I somewhat disagree on the card ownership thing. If anything, when he continues to talk that way, it gives me more confidence that if something can happen with Classic, it will, because that is, you know, if they don't have Classic, you can't say that on any podcast anymore. You know, because that's a pretty important thing to them, is the legacy element, owning your shit and all that. And although it's not been improved recently, certainly it's only got worse over the last like iteration or whatever. It is still important to them, you know. And I don't know. I was saying this, was it maybe on a member stream or something? But like a lot of the lens that we put all this stuff through is on things as they are. And I had a wee kind of thought experiment recently. I kind of went through it on a stream a day or two ago maybe. But see the way the in-season dynamic works. What happens? So imagine now, right? It's 4 in-seasons you need. Imagine the game quadrupled overnight. They wouldn't be able to keep that criteria. Otherwise, prices would go the way they went before, and they didn't like that, you know. So they would need to change the criteria in that case, so that more people can get an in-season team together. Do they make that 3 in-seasons? Do they make it 2? Depends on the scale of growth, obviously. But if you walk that further down the road, like eventually, like Classic getting money isn't that big of a stretch, because eventually, like in-season's got as much money as it's going to be. You've diluted the criteria down to 2 in-season cards at the nth degree of this scale that we're talking about, maybe even 1. So then after that, where do you put cash and stuff if it's growing, if it's that big, you know, and there's that many? So, yeah, I know it's been totally nerfed, but hearing them talk about it like that still, I think good. It's still a value proposition for them. It's still something they hold as a core tenet of the company or whatever. So, if and when they have the ability to balance the scales, I'm still quite hopeful they will. I've said that a few times, but it's not really panned out. But that's kind of how I see it.
I just don't buy Classic cards anymore. Like, but I do if I do buy a Classic card, it's like with a view to using it in the last slot. I just don't buy them at all. And like I know that it's like an overall thing that was always going to happen or whatever, but they do have to address it in some way, because like as far as I can see, like they'll probably do what they're going to do with the MLS just now and just take the cash out altogether. So they're not going for the model where they have some sort of overrun and they have some cash in it. It's like they're going to go the opposite way or whatever. So okay, that's fine, you're going to do that, but there's still key points in that to be addressed. Like like the end of the season thing. Like I know that there always is a seasonality thing, but like it's just Classic's so hard, and like you'll have people what will happen is they'll not be able to afford the end season cards. They'll play in Classic, and they'll just be put off the game because they'll feel as if they're doing really well and they're winning nothing that's of any value at all. Like even like daft things. I'll give you an example. Like they done that crafting thing, and I crafted a tier 2 super rare. So that's supposed to be an in season. It's supposed to be something that's half decent in some way. And I've got a guy who's never played a game of football for Ulsan and sells for one less than $1 for a limited. Now that's stuff that people have been complaining about forever, right? Like,
Yeah.
so if you're going to say that crafting's the savior and people enjoy crafting, and at least address that experience as well. But they've still got huge issues with that stuff, and like it's okay saying, well, that's fine because people don't know what tier they're getting from. But the guy's not a tier 2. The guy's a tier 5 card, but you can't do anything. You're not supposed to complain about it on Twitter. You can't ask for a swap because it's just, well, that guy's in the pool. But so why is he in the pool? Like, he's never played a game of football. And why is he a tier 2? He's not a tier 2. So like you've got to like address all those stupid points as well, because if crafting's really good, people enjoy it, then people will put up with a lot of that stuff because they'll say, well, I had a chance of winning a Messi or whatever, and that's just the way it goes. So there's still definite things they've got to sort out.
I think Super is slightly different with the pools. So like, I can imagine it is a bit of a nightmare because you're winning probably tier 2s and tier 3s, and you're getting God knows what that play for, but that don't play for God knows who. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Care. The answer is they don't care. The reason they don't care is because they make money from limited and rare, and like they don't care enough to actually go in and fix it. That's a problem. Like some of the tier 2s and stuff they give out in super rare, in season super rare cards are like, you can just look at them straight away and you know they're not in the right tier, and they give them out and they just don't do anything to fix it.
But it is automated. It's got to run off a market ticker or something that goes on last sale. I know a lot of people want like a guy that flags stuff, but I don't think that is feasible at all, to be honest. Like it has to run off some sort of algorithm or whatever, because if the guy that's flagging stuff is flagging stuff and you go, hang on, I don't like that flag, or he should be flagged, and then it falls back on the guy, and you know what I mean? I think there always will be discrepancies in the prize pool, to be honest. And that's because of even like random stuff like we've seen with the collection events where the K-League cards spiked for a few days, or like someone just needs 30 extra score for their collection and they pay £8 on instant buy for a complete DMP. And I think it is difficult for them to go, hang on, is he actually £8 now? Or is it just a weird transaction where someone just overpaid stupidly?
Yeah.
Mikey Bastion here with a nice little bit of info. Sorry, just if he's want to gander your eyes on this. Mikey pulled a tier 3 rare, 19-year-old K-League lad, never seen the bench, never mind anything else. And he was tier 3 because he was a rookie and they had an Essence mission for K-League collection that week.
Yeah.
So it wasn't fully SO5 utility that determined where it was in the reward pool. It was collection utility, which I find weird, other than like the spike in prices maybe moved it on the market.
That would have moved it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Rather than it's.
I think did you not even try to do that when you bought the?
I done it.
Yeah, you did it. Well, like, yeah.
I didn't realise who was a rookie, but
I think a lot of people. I think even like bring it back to when Harry won Dean Howson, and he was like, "This guy doesn't play it. Why am I getting him?" There's not all the time, obviously, but there is a reason why certain people are certain prices, and it's not all of the prices determined by SO5 scores and whether they're starting every game and scoring over 70. There is underlying reasons for price movements and stuff. Obviously, there shouldn't be complete DMP K-League players getting given out as tier 3s.
Yeah. Never mind McBride's, which is a tier 2.
Like this guy has never had a super rare actually sold. He's had one reward and one craft. They've never sold a super rare. So like honestly, like I know, like, I don't want to sound as if I'm just, but like that was a tier 2 craft. The guy has never played. He's never been sold in super rare. He's not a rookie. He's got nice hair. He's got some hair. That's better than me. But like, just there's no reason for him to be. I don't know
Yeah,
why
agreed. Yeah,
he's in tier 2.
but
And like,
yeah,
you can't even like
yeah, you
email
can't
in.
justify that. Yeah,
There's no appeal process anymore. Like it's a completely obvious huge mistake, and like you can't even contact and say this guy shouldn't even be in that pool, and they do something reasonable, give you some auction credits, so just act as if that's fine. And the thing is, like, I'd saved up that Super Rare Essence for ages,
Yeah, I bet, man.
right? I'd saved it up for ages and opened it, and I was like I just like that doesn't make me want to play classic, or it doesn't make me want to buy somebody towards the end of the season thinking, well, I can still use him for a couple of seasons. Like, just don't really care anymore. So that's not what they want, right? They want people to like be getting, obviously want to showcase the good crafts and stuff like that, but they want the experience to be good. But that stuff, like, they don't care, because I emailed them about that and stuff. Like I like did actually send something in, and they just get back and they were just like, well, you can't you can't complain about a craft.
yeah.
So,
Their policy is with even rewards is like, unless they're out for 6 months in, yeah, it's not a problem.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those ones, maybe. You maybe get this yourself, Charlie, you've got kids, but sometimes you just need to set a rule, and even if it's stupid,
Yeah,
you just
stick
need to
by it.
keep
Yeah.
follow through on it. Yeah, you need to own that.
And I think that
Um,
that kind of is the right thing, because you used to get. I remember before they put this rule in, you used to get people on Twitter just even screenshotting their appeals and stuff, going, yeah, yeah. Well, no, I'm not mention any names.
pointing any elbows or
Yeah.
anything, you know.
But yeah, like I think it is kind of good in one aspect that they just go, right, this is the rule. But like obviously McBride's been stung really bad there. But
And the double Safanov they got this year.
yeah, but like the Safanov, even though
Oh,
he doesn't
tough.
play, there is a reason he had that value. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not like it's similarly to the guy who won, he was a DMP. There will probably have been a spike in limited or rare where he went up a bit. So that's probably why he's in tier 3. Or something
Agreed.
like that. But I think like we've seen with contender, it goes on like everything goes on percentages of pools. I think like tier 3 is like bottom 50% of the full contender, every single player contender. The bottom 50% is tier 3, 4, and 5, I think. So that could be an absolute nobody, and that's probably why he's ended up winning a nobody.
Could be. We've
Unfortunately.
got a wee game. Got a wee game about to kick off. So I'm
Wow.
just going to pause it a second. I've changed my team up. We're playing a team that's pretty weak in terms of their actual ratings and stuff. I had to rotate and whatever. Don't want to spoil anything, but we had the second half of the Scotland derby in this division. I took on Edinburgh Pirates. It didn't go too well.
Ooh.
It was a tight game. I had to make rotations. And let's just say they got revenge. But I'm just going to have this on in the background where we're watching this. It should be a good 3 points. We've also got Sid. Sid said Barcelona time. Thanks very much. I don't know if it was you, Sid, or a different Sid. But there was another Sid in the chat. Who's the Castilla manager. And by the way, this guy owes me a pint. I drew with Heat, the big team. And Castilla's now top of the table. He'll be playing Heat right now in a 6-pointer. So if he wins and holds on to the title, he owes me a beer. You know, I don't drink beer. I'll take a tequila. But yeah, I've got this one to watch in the background.
Yeah. Are you two formation there?
Yeah, just to rotate people because I had to rotate my right back out, but the only right back solution I have is right wing back. So it's then been a kind of chain of events. I'll pause this quickly because I was kind of trying to chat about this on a video. I don't think it's out yet, or maybe it is. But both the guys I brought on loan can also play wingers. So that kind of opened up a wee rotation option for me, rather than if I have to change formation, I can play 3 up front now. Nasser's getting a day off today because after this we've got 5 games running. We need to win them all. So all the big boys are getting the day off. You've had a bunch of games yourself today, McBride, I guess.
I've still got 3 to go, so they're all kind of coming up soon. Yeah, Celtic boys drew, and then Moretti have finally had a bad stretch there. Obviously, had as many beers as me this week, but still top of the league, so it's not a disaster. But yeah, need to go over the line. So
That's good crack. I think season 5 is going to be mental the way it's been building up over the last 2 weeks.
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? You see the Celtic and Vienna got to the cup finals as well.
Oh, brilliant! No, I didn't see that. I see one of them. There was a lot of cup final chat. I think I might have seen one of them. I didn't know you had two cup finals. That definitely
Yeah.
seems like a surprise to me. But I knew you had one of the teams. It might have been, you had a good post for the Celtic boys when they won. I think so. I think I seen that.
Yeah, well, Vienna are like it's all pretty tough teams to be honest. So, but beans and toast there. Two cup finals really good because the furthest I've been so far was a semi, so that's really good. But need to sort out the league form as well. Still got like loads because of that. Still got loads of games to go, which is a good and a bad thing, as you know, with the rotations and things. But
McBride is my tactical mate, by the way. Said FIFA. You've been hired, McBride, as a director of football.
just copy what I'm doing. I'm to cup finals. That's quite tough. I mean, like the engine is really good, right? I mean, like when you get up to silver, like it's really hard. Like I just made like a couple of changes and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm playing bottom. And I get scudded 4-1. It's like the teams are really really good. So yeah, it's hard, but it's good because it kind of helps. Like obviously, a learning curve in it. Like, we've never really done this before, so you've got to learn. So.
What's the the MFL differential for like saying like placing average in a certain league and then placing like poor in a league above? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the person who wins the division below gets paid less than bottom in the division above.
Wow.
Or about the same.
You want to get as high as possible. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Proper
ladder.
Yeah. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because there's no deliberate reason to sandbag. Like you
don't want sandbagging, do you? Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So I kind of realised that in a bit more detail. The video we've got going out next week, I kind of looked at the agency for it, and I was going through, like, I've got a guy in Stone on loan who's going to win his division, so I was looking at how much MFL that division pays, and then all the rest of the guys I've got on loan are in Ice, and I was looking at how much Ice pays out, and I was like, oh Jesus, like, loaning players out, where do you want them, that kind of chat. Basically, it was good fun. But yeah, essentially, like, winning a division it might be better than like the bottom team in the division above, but it's not better than much more than that, if at all.
Yeah, you basically just have to like participate in like follow all the rules in the next division, and you'll pretty much get as much. So it's a bit like a double whammy when you win, because you get your reward, but then you get nearly as much again. So it's good.
Missed two sitters tonight, Manzano and Lecoq.
What a cock.
Big Riger.
Where are you sitting in this division, Quinn? Are you in the top three? Third. Aye.
Flying high. Maybe hanging on, but depending on how this goes.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you need to win?
I expected it. Oh, Florek, the backup keeper. Better than Onana, I hear you say.
I've seen a report saying he's getting dropped for Sunday.
I've seen reports he's going to Saudi.
Man United. They've got a buyback on that boy at Leverkusen as well. What do you call him? The guy that always gets a game ahead of Hideki. Yeah.
He was a buyback on him?
Man United have got a buyback clause on him. He came through he was like a youngster at Manchester United before he went to Leverkusen. So
I had no idea about that at all. I could have swore they got him from like fucking Prague or something, or
I think Man United bought him and then maybe loaned him out somewhere, or he come through there. He was owned by Man United and went and loan or whatever people, and then obviously went to Leverkusen, but they've got a buyback clause on him apparently. I mean, they could have just kept David De Gea or whatever. And was like,
no, I think he was past it when he went. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
he was chucking too many in his net, I think, at that point.
Onana's not been an improvement. They spent how much did they spend? 50, 60 million or something? Like,
yeah, but Onana also being shit doesn't make De Gea not shit. Well, his last couple of seasons not shit. Like, just buy this and keeper, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
Onana just had like an amazing Champions League final for Inter, didn't he? But I think all of us even knew like Onana was a bomb scare anyway. It was pure weird that he was doing good at Inter. Like, no, we were even a bit like, this is weird. Because Ajax was all right, but definitely sniffed his own farts.
Have that in them. and like why big teams take punts on them, thinking they're not going to still have that in them, is just beyond me, honestly.
Aye, we'll tell him. None of that shit here, mate.
Yeah,
The other
We
issue
want to
is
do that here.
they're changing managers all the time as well. So Onana did do well at Inter, but Inter are good at the back, right? I mean, Sommer's done really well there, and like they're a good, they're a strong defensive team. But obviously, like Angerin comes in, he maybe says, "Well, I want you to play a bit different on the ball or whatever," and just there's just a transition all the time in it. So
yeah. But Sommer's not going to chuck one in his net every other game.
he's been really...
you're possibly going to get that over Nana.
And they sold Onana for all that money or whatever, and then they get Sommer for 5 million or something. So like, it's like a good result.
Yeah, it's interesting that not as many teams just do kind of what Celtic did and just not go for a sexy keeper and just get someone that's old and reliable. You know what I mean?
It's horses for courses a little bit as well. Celtic don't mind a guy that's not perfect. So many of these teams are after.
But
they can pass, they can dive, they can do this, they can do that. They want them all, don't they?
Look at how much Chelsea has spent on. Like they've literally got a revolving door for the shit keepers.
Yeah,
and they've spent God knows amount. Like they've spent 20 million on Penders who can't get a game for Genk.
Yeah,
it's mental.
I'm so surprised by that Kovar betting news, by the way. That feels
yeah, I was surprised about that.
Yeah. McBride, the goalie guru.
Yeah.
Put, if somebody knows something.
Can we put Celtic up on? We need to put Celtic up.
Of course, yeah. Screen share, go for it, bud.
I see someone in the chat suggesting Pickford, and they obviously don't realise Pickford also has a bit of a clanger in him.
Yeah. I think Kovar could be a quality shout for Man United.
Are they not after a keeper? I'm sure I saw someone saying Leverkusen are after a keeper.
Wouldn't be surprised. I don't think they fancy Hideki longish term, and if they know that Kovar is on the hook with Man United, maybe they kind of know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
They know what's up.
Yeah,
again, Leverkusen had a period where they had like 5 keepers on their books, like fucking Lunevs and Hidekis and fucking Pence, and we had everyone, man. So what's this, McBride? Top versus what?
I'm second against fourth, I think.
Nice.
I hate this point every night because Dublin are on 5 minutes for Celtic, so Dublin's games get like 10 minutes to go and the Celtic game's already started, and there's always an overlap. So I'm always like going into the game, or do I just leave it and just go back and watch the replay or whatever? But I've made 1 or 2 changes here. It's obviously a lot of games recently, but they're all must-win games at this point, to be honest. Like, yeah, need to keep winning.
Yeah.
I've just noticed. You want to do full screen on your pitch, McBride?
You can do that now, yeah.
I've just noticed I've dropped down to 4th. Me and 3rd place are level on points.
It's 3rd for playoffs, isn't it?
Yeah. So final run of the games. 4 games left.
Do you play them?
I'm fully rotated now, so I can play. Yeah, I play them. Second game of the 4.
Oh wow! See, that's a 12-pointer.
Big time. You get promoted, man. And Castilla and Heat. Oh, I don't know what happened with them, but they're level on points now. So Castilla must have dropped points. He was ahead.
So how far are you from that?
8 points.
Dublin.
I'm cut off now.
Dublin has got that banger with 5 minutes to go.
See, what you need, McBride, is you need 2 tabs, and then you just pause the game that starts first, or you pause the game that starts second.
Usually I'm doing it on my phone, right? And you know what I'm like, I can't work a computer and stuff. So
do you know what? I never do MFL on my phone. Is it alright on your phone?
It's okay if you're winning. Dublin won, so it's great on the phone. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, you just you can just see it's not as good as on the PC, obviously, but yeah, Dublin won. We'll take it.
Non-stick Llama going for a cup double as well. GG's, mate. Love that.
Yeah. Lama's in the Discord I'm in as well, in the Ramble Discord. So quite a few of the guys have got to finals and stuff, so that's good. Nice community and everything. It's Martin Gibbs.
Gibbsy.
He was actually up in Vienna, and I moved him down. Like he was kind of like the kind of like third striker in Vienna, and I'd bought one of those mad guys that was progressing, so I moved him down. So that's kind of paid off so far. So he's not that much better than the other guys I had there, like, but he is pretty good. So yeah.
Oh, turning the style on the night.
Big Chris, great hairdo as well.
Ream goalkeeper Diouf is on 100 after 63 minutes.
Well,
Never did that in Ireland. He was shite.
I'm not trying to jinx anything, but there's been a lack of Friday night curse so far. I probably am jinxing that, but
I don't think I've had many Sorare runners tonight, to be honest. Like,
So all eyes on Valencia for me.
yeah, I've got Burnley on the side. Yeah, winning 2-0 currently.
I had the Friday morning curse. I had Brandon Nozawa for Tokyo, and he conceded in the 95th minute. So,
Oh, did he?
aye,
Oh, that's a bastard.
Yeah, that bumped me up about 10 places into a card.
nice.
By the way,
That
Rido
was really
Baku's finished on 2 decisives tonight, 82 points.
Is that not one of the challenges? Is that a midweek one or something? Is that a two decisive thing or what? I can't remember.
This week it's something weird, like it's like a Greek one. Someone, if you get a Greek player,
and then a pen save.
Yes, Martin Gibbs.
Wheels away.
Celtic Glasgow. I don't want to like start singing too early in case they score 3 goals or whatever, but yes, oi, oi, oi. Celtic have been good on the stream as well, Connie. The last time Celtic won as well, so
I think so. I've had bad luck on the Friday night shows.
yeah. The
I
Barcelona.
think it's maybe been mixed.
I like the wee thing they've done now where you do the tab. It's got like my community, and you just like follow the different teams, and then like, you can go in and see when their games are and stuff.
Oh yeah. Don't think I've seen that.
It's
Tell you
like
what.
down. It's like down below. It's above or below where the leaderboard is, and then it's like you can go in and you can like follow teams or you can follow managers.
Oh yeah.
And then they come up on a wee individual list. So like if you've got a couple of guys where usually follow their games or whatever, you just sting it, and then in the first tab, if you follow the club, it tells you the time of their next game once you go into the actual screen and stuff. It's really good. Quite community focused, obviously. So
Yeah, I see it here. My network. I love that.
I
Already
know
got
what
15
that-
followers, which is fun. If you haven't done so already, get following FC Barcelona. We want that to be the biggest followers. Get them all. Get your
Star
season
Striker will
tickets.
be
Get your
back.
scarves. What's that?
Star Striker will be back next. NASA. He scored a
Yeah.
hat trick last week, didn't he? I remember he was absolutely bagging him in.
Aye, we did alright last week, didn't we? I think. But I had to rotate him for the night, didn't I play? Because I need him for the next 4 games on the spin.
Yeah. For the running.
Yeah.
Got to be done.
I think I'm close to getting a club, to be honest.
Oh, Charlie boy.
Yeah.
Love
Just try
that.
and see if you get a Newcastle license.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of weighing up. Do I buy do I get? I kind of want one that's either like Newcastle or Charlotte.
Oh, fun.
Like I don't want to buy a one and then get some random Tunisian city. You know what I mean? That's the issue.
I'll need head off after this, Quinny, because somebody's coming down to drop off the ticket for the game tomorrow. So when Celtic finish, you'll need to love you with some Celtic Glasgow songs. But
I no bother, buddy. Me and Charlotte probably hang on for another 5 or 10 after that anyway, but not by much. It's kind of at the same point as well.
Yes, you said Celtic Glasgow.
See, I should have got one of these goals. Should have been in my game. No, man.
Should have done them one.
All action here.
I'm pleased with this. This is a doing, but like this guy's fourth, I'm sure. Like so, like it's not as if it's like an easier team or whatever. Like Celtic playing really well at the moment, obviously. So hopefully the form continues in the cup final as well. No, using up all the goals too early. But,
It's fun that the cup finals get their own day before the last game of the season.
Aye.
Quite like that.
and the MFL is really good. And also, I don't know if anybody realizes, but if you win a cup final, you get extra XP for your players as well.
Ooh, that's
It's in
fun.
the white paper thing, like, you know, it's like play this amount of games, you get that amount of games, and it says if you win a cup final, so like I think it's like 100.
Bus parade.
It's like 15% above 100, about 115%, something like that. So yeah, a bus parade. I should get an open top bus as well, obviously.
What do you think about maybe in future like a European, like a Champions League kind of thing, top four, go into it. If you
Yeah,
win the cup, you go into it, something like that.
that'd be good.
Yeah.
Somebody was talking about, I think it was Calvinator was talking about what happens when players retire. So obviously there's thing in the white paper about them maybe becoming scouts or becoming club legends or whatever. And he was talking about like you could run like a legends competition where like each club would enter their retired legends, the guys who'd got to the highest rating, and then you play like a legends game against each other and stuff like that. So there's loads of possibilities. I think that's why it's so good because like obviously they're retiring because the game's forcing them to retire, not because they've knackered their knee or they're too old or whatever, you know. So
You
That
just
could be
want more
fun.
classic utility.
aye. Well, if you get nothing, then you've been told about it. Like, so there's not been any goalpost move from that point of view. Like, it's all kind of there in terms of what age people are going to retire and stuff. But even if they're just doing something, like becoming a scout for you and checking out some guys you like or whatever, then that's fine. Celtic Glasgow.
Love that.
Oh, love it. Fantastic.
Shows your table.
So I'm on the wrong screen. I'm on the screen for the actual stream rather than the.
Are you watching the stream instead of watching your?
I'm watching the stream rather than watching the actual game. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, top of the league. Fantastic.
Nice.
But pretty tough run in as well.
I was going to say, by the way, only 35 points.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
tough
tight, isn't
division.
it?
That's hard. It is pretty hard. I mean, see this guy Sultans or whatever. Like,
Wow.
he was bottom like 6 or 7 games in, and like he had just had a bad start or whatever. But I've actually got him. I've like running wise, I've got Nagoya and Zurich are not too bad, and then Hound and Shield are 5th, and then I've got Asuncion in the cup final, and then I've got Sultans in the last game. So it's like it's definitely like all to play for stuff, if you know what I mean. So
Proper running.
it's a proper run, and I've lost 5 games, but like it is really competitive. Like
Yeah,
I've got a pretty good team, but like there's a lot of good teams like about, so it's quite interesting.
You're the top scorer in the division, but not the best defence. The best defence is actually in 5th.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
So
tough. Because I'm in Iron as well. You're in Iron 2. I'm in Iron 15. And the top of my division, both of them are on 42 points.
Wow.
It just like depends. Like,
Is it just completely like you said? There's like loads of Iron division. Is it like completely random? Is it like seeded slightly or?
I think there's a scale on it. I think there's a seeding. So I think McBride is like one of the strongest, probably Iron squads. That's why it's in the second one.
and you're in a path. So like,
yeah,
if you like go up to the next division, like often if the guy who was in second got promoted, he comes up with you and stuff. So it's like so you can build.
Okay.
Drivers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So it's kind of like you like kind of like the English pyramid works. So you go from like
north and south and all that.
yeah, you're in your own like little lane and go up, and then you'd meet with like north or south, and then kind of come up together. Yeah, at the end. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
anyway, I'm gonna go, guys. Somebody's coming down to meet me soon. Anyway, but enjoy your
Pleasure, bud.
break.
No worries.
I will, buddy. Thank you. I'll try.
I'll see you later, Charlie.
See ya.
Newcastle Hammer Man United as well.
Yeah, so do I.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
See you later.
See you soon, bud.
Yeah.
Legend. Gerter Hein with 2 goals. I don't think there's been any Friday night curse so far, has there?
I'll tell you what, there has. I caught one. Luckily, I wasn't
Oh.
involved. My nan off on the 55th minute,
Sent or injured?
injured. They're winning 3-0.
Ooh, in what minute did they go off? 55th?
55th.
Oh, that's peak
what it is.
Friday night curse, man, isn't
Isn't
it?
it?
Oh,
Bad that.
wow. I
I
might
think
have a tiny bit of it because
Mama
I
Dashvili,
bought.
by the way.
Yeah, cruising.
Oh, Sadiq being dragged. No.
Did you have him on?
Oh, I need to stop playing him.
Why did you buy him, man?
I know. I've only got myself to lay on there.
I bought that Andre Almeida to cover me for Sergio Gomez being dodgy, and then I put Sergio Gomez in the next team, and he kicked out Javi Guerra. I think every time I've kicked Javi Guerra out of a team, he does something.
I won that right back today for Sevilla.
for Sevilla. Carmona, I like him by the
Yeah.
way.
Is he good?
I don't.
He,
Yeah,
he plays and he scores. I got him as a tier
yeah.
4, which I thought was alright.
Nah, he's all right.
Wasn't it?
He's
And
like, I don't know if he'll ever like go up a level
Yeah.
from Sevilla. I think this is kind of like the top of him, but he loves a tackle. Like he's a wee pit bull of a guy. Good right back and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like
AC
him.
Milan have absolutely smashed, and then Milan's in a 50. Theo got a goal, Leao goal and an assist,
Ooh,
Pavlovic with a goal, Pulisic with an assist.
Jesus. What's the fucking score?
4-0.
That's what I'm thinking. 4-0.
Yeah.
3-2 Wolfsburg and Leipzig.
Wow.
That wee wonder kid guy's on the fucking bench for Ream. I thought he was going to play.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, he's 90% on, wasn't he?
Aye. Where's AC Milan? Am I tripping?
The win near Wolfsburg.
Oh yeah.
2-0. Yeah.
Not an 80, but oh no, there is an 80. Teal's got it. Oh, and Pavlovic. Yeah. Clean sheet bonus, of course. Reinder's not doing too great considering.
Yeah. Yeah, both AA. Both the centre mid without AA, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird. I was also change of shape a wee bit. Look at Jovic coming back.
Christ, is he still fucking kicking about? Jesus.
Wild man, he's not in Turkey or some shit by now.
Yeah. He'll be in Turkey in no time, surely.
Yeah.
He's that profile of striker, isn't he?
I loved him as well. See when he broke through at Frankfurt, he
Yeah.
was the guy, man. He was so good.
Where did he go? Was it Madrid?
Madrid's from Frankfurt and it just fucked him.
Yeah, big time, didn't it?
Yeah, just AC Milan. Fiorentina, he had a wee minute there. I thought he maybe did go somewhere weird for a minute, but obviously not. He is a guy, but he'll crop back up somewhere because he's loaded now.
You'll go
He's
to,
barely played.
He'll go to like Wolves or somewhere to be their backup striker or something, something weird.
Oh, that could happen so easily, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Especially Wolves, especially in particular.
You see all the Cunha links this week.
I've not seen them now.
He's
Anything
getting
exciting?
strongly linked to Man United, and then the talk around the Newcastle journals is he's top of the transfer list for Newcastle.
It'd be fucking some get for Newcastle, by the way.
Yeah,
That'd be mega.
yeah, big time.
Oh, aye. Him and Bruno, we bit of the Samba life. That sounds,
Yeah.
that sounds pretty good to me. Yeah. I was going to say, you remember, but I don't know how many videos I did on Cunha before he got on fire, saying
I
like he'd
remember,
fix Man United, he'd fix Arsenal. And we need to get them clipped and posted maybe when the transfers go through.
Yeah, it seems as though he's definitely going to leave this summer, especially with all that whatever he did when he started fucking kicking the shit with someone and got like a 7-game ban.
Ooh. Yeah. And that was unforeseen. I seen he was back in the builder for this weekend, and I thought, good, I've finally got him back, but I don't really have enough goalkeepers to really feel it. But Barco, blanking Ugalde off injured.
2-0 something, didn't they? I think
Wow.
they did. Then it finished 2-1. They're at the top.
It was an earlier game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jeez. Jesus Medina. Bongonda. This is a funny team, man, isn't it?
Yeah.
Solari, Zobrin's still around.
It's mental how that Ugalde is there.
Yeah, he's so good, isn't he?
Like, yeah, he was like, where was he? 20, and he was like really good at 20. And he just went to
Aye,
Russia.
Spartak spent mega money on him as well.
Yeah,
like
they did, didn't they?
25 mil or something. 30 maybe. A wee bit of Friday night curse creeping around. Not too much of it came to me, but there's a bit of it.
Yeah. I'll be happy if Valencia and Burnley hold out the clean sheets. That'll do me.
Yeah. Was he guy on a 60? He is 64.
Wow.
Here we go. I just need Almeida to pop a wee decisive and we're jamming.
Yeah.
Diego Lopez, tried and tested, Mr. Reliable. Doesn't do less than a
he's like
60.
loads of days in a row now, isn't he?
I think that's like
5 or
6 and 7.
Yeah, I was going to say 5 or 6, yeah.
I think he missed one recently, but he was on a run, and then one he missed.
Yeah, I seen some ways since the new man just came in. They're like, I think it's like 3rd or 4th since he came in.
That'd been good.
Really turned them around. Yeah, like he's a good manager. Like he was good in the championship. He was like high rated in the championship. Good move for him, definitely.
Aye, let's hope he continues.
Because they looked like down at one point.
Oh, aye, big time, wouldn't they? That's why I got them so cheap. Because it was like,
Yeah.
oh, Valencia
they were
can't
like-
be this bad
yeah.
forever, you know?
Yeah.
They were probably bottom, I think, when I bought them, if not second
Yeah, I think
bottom.
they were. Yeah. Yeah, they looked like done. And then Siddiq's came in and turned it all around.
Barrett, Sadiq. Barrett, yeah, just jumped up 6 points there.
Oof. Is that a double? No. Yeah.
Yeah, double
no.
double's on.
Yeah, double. Yeah.
Bastard. He's so good
Oh.
now, Barry and a share for that. Oh no, Burnley.
Yeah.
Who's done you? Kenny McLean?
It
No.
was off a corner.
What's
Christ.
that? Oh, Errol had to go off. That was an OG. Stacey. Boo. VAR. 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 Marcelo Nunez off the bench. Josh Sargent still kicking about. Oi, Shane Duffy and Kenny McLean at centre back. Norwich, man. What are you doing to football? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oi. I've had good fun tonight, channel. I've kind of run out of steam. I don't know what else to kind of bring up.
Mm-hmm.
To everyone that's tuned in tonight, I hope you've enjoyed the show. I am away for the week, but there will be some bits and bobs recorded. There may be a video or two that's out. I might have some equipment with me. We'll maybe see if something happens, but I don't know. I can also tell myself I really just need a week away for it, as well, just for, work-life balance and all that shit. Then I think it's just talking about football. It's not that bad, or a game, But anyway, we'll see how it goes. But please support all the content as best you can, everyone. If you're watching this after we've been live, or you're maybe going to go back, and we've had some good content out over the last month or two. A few bits and bobs are a wee bit underviewed, so maybe I'll do some scheduled posts to maybe bring some of them to your attention or whatever, in case you've got nothing to watch on any given day. But thanks to everyone. I hope you enjoy next week. Charlie boy, absolute pleasure, my man, as well. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Been a good show.
Almeida's just been subbed off.
Yeah.
44 confirmed. Anyway, have a good night, everyone. Take care.